So hey guys, welcome. Today in this video we'll be looking at the CSS positioning, and this is my first ever voice recorded video. So hope you like the concept, and make sure to comment to how to put any kind of feedback you're having with this video. So let's get started. So when I first started learning CSS, I always been stuck at the CSS positioning. So whenever I try to learn the CSS positioning, I always feel feared about it. So worry not, in this video we'll be totally looking at CSS positioning. All the CSS positioning are there in the CSS with the practical example. So let's just start. So here this is the dummy HTML document. Nothing much, just a simple HTML code, and the style sheet is linked. Okay, so I'll be writing the code. So first thing first, let me write down the number of positioning, the way of positioning available in the CSS. So let me write it first. So here I write the positioning. So there are 5 types of positioning available in the CSS. So let's just start with the static positioning. So let me write some code and I will explain along with the example. So here I write the HTML. So we just have a simple parent container. Inside the container we have 3 divs. Uh, each div have a common class and the individual class. So individual class are there for individual styling, and the common class are there for the generic styling. So let me go to the CSS page, CSS, and style these. After refresh, as you can see, um, the styling has been applied. So what I do in styling is simple. So this is basically in every if you are the previous viewer or the initial subscriber, you might be knowing the fact that I use is in pretty much every project. So this is basically the resetting. So I reset the margin, padding and box sizing default value to these values, so that it cannot take the default value. Instead it would take these specified values, right? And to body, I specifies the minimum width and height to be 100 viewport width and viewport height. So it will take the entire width and height of the HTML page. And using the flex box, these three lines, what it does, it just center everything inside the body to the center, right? And the box. So the box is a common class to three of our divs. So three div tags will contain the width and height. So every div tag will have 60 pixel width and height. And each specific individual style have different background colors. So I will just mention a number here as well, so that you can see the number appeared here. So let me style that as well. So what did I do here is basically apply the font size in order to make the content of the box appear big, and align items. No, it has to be text aligned. So when I use text align center, it basically centers the text. Okay, and I apply the white color. So after that, I should be adding some spacing between these elements in order to uh, actually distinguish between the elements. Same margin bottom to each box element does the job. So right now, let's just talk about the static position. So static position is basically the default position through which the HTML elements are bind with. So what does that mean? It means that you can see here our all the HTML elements, including container, these three boxes, does not have any positioning in the style. So it does not apply any positioning in this style. So by default, it will contain static. So what does mean by static is the static positioning will not have the top, bottom, left, right properties like we'll be seeing them in the other positioning elements. So the static, in case of the static positioning, you cannot apply top or bottom. So let's just see an example. As you can see, I had applied 300 pixel from top. So even though I applied the 300 pixel, the element has not moved even by an inch. Why? Because as I have told earlier that this this box one is by default static, so top, bottom, left, right will not be applied to it. Also, the z-index property will also not be applied to the static element. So what is the z-index? So the z-index, basically I will make another video on it, but to get a general idea, z-index is basically the position of a element on the web page. So consider the books of stacking. So some books are at the bottom, some are the middles, and some at the top. So Z index value defines where your book should be, so where your element should be stacked at on the web page. So leave it. I will make just another video in detail to explain the concept of Z index. So what we have understood about the static positioning is the static position is the default position of the HTML, and once the element has a static position applied, we cannot use top, bottom, left, right in order to position the element, and Z index also not applicable in case of static positioning. So let's move on to the another position, that is relative. So relative positioning is, so let's see with an example. Now as you can see, I had applied position relative to the box 1. So this box 1 has moved 300 pixels from the top, and as you can see, the one is beneath the third box. Why it happened? Because we applied top 300 pixel. So in case of relative positioning, the top, bottom, left, right are available for you to play around with, so you can position it. And what has happened really is it has not taken 300 pixel from the top, literally it has taken from its initial position. So let me just do it like this. Initially, as you can see, this first is at somewhere in the center, right? So from that initial position, it will be down 300 pixel. So from the initial position of the element, it will be down 300 pixel. So as the name indicate, it is relative to its initial position. So whatever the styling, top, bottom, left, right we apply, it is in relation to its initial position. So that is why we have the relative position. And relative position is also very important in order to make your web page in a certain way. And one more thing very important about relative positioning is that it won't affect the surrounding element. So even if I let's say do the 50 pixel, so it has moved from its initial position to the 50 pixel. So as you can see, it is kind of on the top of the 2. So it is covering some part of the 2 element, but it have not moved the 2 element to the bottom in order to make it space. So what it tells us that it does not affect the initial or the initial state of the HTML document. It won't affect. It just moves from its initial position to whatever the position provided without affecting the HTML document. Okay, so that is all about the relative position. So let's see what we have next. So we have fixed position. So let me try to explain it with an example. The fixed position is basically takes its positioning from the viewport. So unlike the relative position, it won't take from its initial position. Rather, it would take its positioning from the viewport. So what do you mean by viewport? So viewport is basically the visible part of the web page. So this, from this top left corner to the bottom, is the entire web page. The web page that is visible to us, to users, is the viewport. So it will take positioning on the base of the viewport. So we had applied top 50. So it has moved 50 pixels from the top because it 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 only considered the viewport. So it has considered 50 pixels from the top position. Okay. So in case of Let's see. And as the name indicates, the fixed position. So suppose our website has a scroll bar. So when we scroll through the web page, it does not move. So if we had top 50 position, it is fixed at that top 50 position. So let me give some example. So let me add some. So right now I had applied 800 pixel height to the fourth element. Okay. So as you can see, when I'm scrolling the page, the element which has fixed positioning stays at its position. So it has fixed positioning top 50 pixel, so it stays at 50 pixel. So it is unaffected by the scrolling of the web page. Unlike other elements which are scrollable through web page, it has fixed position. So that's all about the fixed positioning. So I had used this example, I had used and why I use the important here, because up top here we are providing a height of 60 pixel. To override the 60 pixel height, I have used the important symbol. I will make a dedicated video on that, but you get the point. Okay. So the next step is absolute positioning. So in case of absolute positioning, I also have to write some code. So let me do it first. So let's see. So here I had created a parent div. Inside that I have a child div. So in the styling, I had just provide the simple styling, some width and height, and I had provide the position absolute to child element. So what does that mean? So in case of position absolute, it is very similar to position fixed. So so the element which has position absolute comes out of the normal flow of the HTML document. Also, it is it works entirely similar to fixed positioning with one exception. What is that? So in case of fixed positioning, it has in case of fixed positioning, it is fixed basis on the position that we applied. So it has fixed to the web page, to the viewport. So in case of absolute positioning. The absolute position its element based on the nearest parent element. So what does that mean? So let me just give example. So here I have added top 40 pixel and left 20 pixel. So it has moved uh, 40 pixel top and it has moved 20 pixel from the left side. So it has moved in relation to its parent position. So nearest parent is, so as you can see in the HTML document, the structure, the child has the nearest parent element, that is this one. Okay, so because I have applied the relative position to this, it will find its nearest parent element that has relative position, and according to or in relation to that relative position, it will uh, adjust or it will position its child element. So likewise in this example, as you can see, so if I do not have the relative position, what happens? So right now I remove the relative position from the parent. So the nearest element to this child, nearest ancestor to this child is the body. So body has a static by default positioning. So it will adjust its child according to the position of the parent element. So right now the parent, according to parent, top 40 is this and left 20 is this. So once, so by applying the position relative to the parent element, it will no longer go to the body element, as this one is no longer a nearest ancestor. It will just move up the chain or move the structure and finds out that the parent class has the position relative. So it satisfies conditions and it will position itself by that element, okay, by that parent element in relation to that parent element. So it's simple as that. Okay, so let me just go, and we have sticky position. Okay, sticky position is a bit tricky, but you might have seen the example of the sticky position in the most web pages, because the navigation bar, the top menu of the web page that you might be visiting, any web page, mostly the modern ones, have this applied. So once you scroll down, it just the top navigation strip to its top of the page, and it kind of feels some modern, and it just the way web developers used it. So let me just make an example for this stick. So as you can see, to the box 3 I have applied position sticky and top 30 pixel. So let's just see the output here first. Okay, so I need to change the color because both of them are cyan, so I need to make sure you can see properly. Here the magic begins. So what is happening here? So once I applied the sticky position to the box 3, it is now waiting the web page to be scrolled till it matches the 30 pixel from the top. And once it matches the 30 pixel from top, it stick to the web page. So it's kind of sticky. It has something as effect of a glue like thing. Okay, so when I scroll it down, and when the the top position of the third element is 30 pixel from the top, it just stick to its web page at the top 30 pixel. Okay, let's see. So I can just increase the so I have now increased the value in order for you to understand it in a better way. So right now, whenever I scroll down, it just wait until it hit the mark of top 100 pixel, and once it hit the mark of top 100 pixel, it just stick itself to the web page. Okay, so that's it. That is about the sticky position. So I hope you have understood all the positions that I have covered in this video. So even if you have any doubt or any queries or any feedback regarding the voice videos, yeah, this is because this is the first time I'm recording the voice video. So if you have any feedback, let me know in the comments below. Make sure to watch this video till the end to get the sufficient understanding. I know it can be tricky for the beginners to understand. So when I was trying to learn the CSS, this was the most trickiest topic for me. So if you feel a bit confused, don't worry, let me know in the comment and I will help each one of you and I will make sure you understand it thoroughly. So thanks for watching the video. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.